Toronto real estate market is extremely confusing right now. You have detached homes that are moving fairly well. You have condo inventory that seems like it would never end, even if people started buying right now. So in today's video, we're going to go through the market update for the last 30 days that will cover May 1st to 31st here. This video is actually an exclusive collaboration between some of the top real estate YouTubers across the GTA and North America. If you're interested in hearing what's happening across the country and in the States, I'm gonna have all of those videos tagged in the description box down below. And if you want to hear more than just what you're gonna get from your TREB market update, these are the channels that you want to check out next. All right, so what you're going to see here is I'm going to show you all of the data. We're going to start with the general overview of what the Toronto numbers looked like here. And when we're starting those numbers, you've got an average price of $1,173,000, median price $947,000 last month, and then you had 2,200 transactions. You still have a portion of these that are, like you can see here, selling above list price. These are the homes that aren't selling above list price because they are super desired all the time. A lot of these are priced low in order to get multiple offers, and they still count towards this statistic. The average days on market we're seeing right now is 27 days. Today's video is not about giving you the averages. It's really about going a little bit deeper and figuring out what's happening in the market. So stick with me here. We're going to start off, and we are going to just start right out the gate with the detached homes. So the detached average price in Toronto last month, 1.717, median price 1,370, and then your transaction volume was 768 transactions that actually took place. Average detached in Toronto is selling in 22 days, which is still very, very strong. And as you can see here, a large portion of these detached in Toronto are over that $2 million price tag here. The percentage that are selling above list price, this is telling you right away the strategy that agents are using in Toronto to sell a detached home quicker. 36% of them are still selling above asking, which means we're going to see lower starting prices and likely setting people up to go for that multiple offer situation. We've talked about this several times in all my videos. Multiple offers can be the big red flag if you are a buyer. So be cautious. If you're going to get into a multiple offer situation, still have your conditions where you want the home inspection, you want the financing, you want to make sure you're going to be able to close the deal so you're not financially tied to something that you can't get out of, and that's just going to cost you way more in the long run here. All right, the one you guys all want to see, you want to see the condos. I know a lot of the viewers here are interested in what the condos are doing in Toronto specifically. We're going to work in with an average price here over 700, medium price more realistic at 605, and you had 869 transactions take place. 33 days is your average on market. We're seeing it sit a lot longer on average. Very rarely are we seeing these in a bidding war situation, which is where you have that 16%. But the one thing that you want to look at here is look at the active listings. You have 6,669 active listings that are condos still, even though we had 869 that actually sold. So a massive amount of condos is still out there. This is just in Toronto by itself, something to actually keep note of. But condos, I know you guys want a lot more detail, so we're going to give you just a bit more. Now, let's look at the one-bedroom condos and take a peek at what those are actually trading for right now. Median price $495, so we're creeping under $500K, which is interesting to see. We had 170 transactions that were one-bedroom condos, and you have, out of that 6,000 plus, you have 1,400 of these condos on the market that are just one bedroom. You notice your days on market, still over a month to sell a one-bedroom condo, and very much on par with the above list price sales. And that's just due to people, listing a condo for $399 and it's selling for $500, for example. Let's take a peek how much this changes when we hop over to the two-bedroom side of things. So two bedrooms right now trading on median price at $619. We did see 504 transactions as the two bedrooms are moving, but we have a ton of them. 3,644 two-bedroom condos are listed right now. So that is a lot, is a very big chunk of that 6,000 condos are two bedrooms right now, more than 50%. And it's taking 34 days on average to get rid of these condos if you're trying to sell one. 3 bedrooms are interesting because once you get to 3 bedrooms, you have maintenance fees that are just unspeakable to a lot of people, but we are still seeing 176 transactions that actually happened during this month, 1,300 active listings. So we're only moving just a small portion of these condos every single month, which is the big problem. The condos are coming back on the market quicker than we're able to get rid of a lot of them here. 31 days on market is the average to actually sell one of these. And then right on par once again with that above list price. Let's take a peek if there is anything that we need to take note of in the condo townhouse sector here. So in Toronto, condo townhouse, make sure you're looking at the condos. They do have an additional fee to consider. We had 336 active listings. You're looking at an $800,000 median sale price, and your median list price was $847,000. So you're selling a roughly $50K less than asking if you're looking at the median numbers here. And it's going to take you just over a month to sell. You're going to notice these numbers have jumped just so much over the last year or two. We were seeing less than 10 days on market for quite some time, and now here we are. We're just looking at numbers that are, very much a typical real estate market, especially on the condo townhouse side of things. Let's get into all condo townhouses because that was just the 3 bedrooms, and it changes things just so slightly. You're still selling for about $50K less, but this is going to encompass some of the single and 2 bedroom condo townhouses. So you have a median price here of $750,000, and you had 784 active, and 137 of those actually did sell. Now, what I'm very curious about more than anything else is semis in Toronto. Semis are always a hot mover, and it looks like that's exactly the case here. On 18 days on average to sell a semi, they're moving faster than the other housing categories. 628 of them listed. A big percentage of them actually did sell, 264. And you're looking at the median price here, still almost at 1.2, $1,195,000 to get into a semi-detached. This is the big stat. 47.7% are selling above list price. Semi-detached is so desirable that if you're putting one on the market in Toronto, you have to go this route. You have to try the bidding war route if you are the listing agent. If you're the seller, this is the way to do it. It's happening 50% of the time. You should really take note of what works in any given market. And this really does seem to work right now. So we've got one more housing category I want to look at. That is just the townhouses with no fees. There's 294 of them active right now, 109 transactions. We are seeing these guys a little bit better than the other condo towns. Of course, 24 days on market, about a week less to sell something like this. And they're getting the same treatment as the semi-detached. You've got 40.4% of these that are going over list price. So once again, being priced low, getting multiple offers, it's also bumping up the average days on market. A lot of sellers right now are having a hard time realizing that in order to sell your home, you have to price it aggressively, and you have to price it within the sale prices of what's actually moving, not what's currently listed. If you have a neighbor who's listed for 1.3, it could have been sitting there for months and they're not going to get 1.3 anymore. You have to think about what the home is actually potentially going to sell for and really list as close to that as possible. Now that we've gone over all the categories here, there's one more thing I want to dive into a little bit more, and that's the Toronto condos. So we are going to go back to that condo category, and we're going to take a peek at a couple things that are always of interest to a lot of people here. We want to look at some of these KPI trends here, and the months of inventory is something I really want you guys to take note of here. So June 2023, we had 2.38 months of inventory. Now we've ridden the wave a little bit, and at 6 months later, November 2023, we had 5.5. We dropped off, we started selling, people got excited that the market might not be going into the tank, but we've kind of ridden this wave, and where we find ourselves today is, as of May 2025, when you're watching this video, it's going to be June, 7.85 months of inventory on the condo side of things. A very, very large amount of inventory. Now, if we want to just look at historical data here for active listings, we are also looking at 6,629 active listings that are condos. Rewind just to December 2024. Not that long ago, 6 months ago, 3,800. So we've almost doubled. We've almost doubled in 6 months the amount of inventory that's on the market, and it's taking a long time for us to sell. Now, median price, something that is interesting for people. You can see the median price here, 680, and where are we at today? We are at 605. So we're trending down slowly. It's not happening extremely quick. It's happening about 10% in the last year. 2 years back to June 2023. We had a little bit of a blip where we did raise. So 60 grand in a couple of years is not the crashing scenario like a lot of people would hope, but it's definitely a decline in the market. And for some, that might be all of their equity that they've actually had in their property. Let's look at transactions. You still have some transactions happening in the condo side of things. We had 869 happen this past month, but we were getting a lot more transactions last year, another 500 transactions. Even if you go back to October of this year, we had 300 or 400 transactions more back in October of 2024. So the last time we had this lull was all the way back to December 2023. And I remember how quiet December 2023 was, a year out from that insanity of the market that we saw. Now, the median list price, this to me might be a little bit more interesting. $699 from June 2023. Now today, $639. So the sellers have not quite adjusted as much as the median sale price. The sellers are still holding on for hope of a little bit of a stronger market than we're currently getting. And just to kind of top it all off here, your new listings volume, we are at 4,000 new listings in May. And if you're looking back to May of 2024, we also saw 4,000, but we haven't seen a number like that in quite some time. So what we're looking for on listings volume is we're looking for these low numbers. We want less to hit the market because we want people to buy what's out there and move some of that inventory. Now that we've gone over all the statistics here, ultimately what all of this translates to is understanding the market that we're currently in. If you're a home buyer right now, you might be frothing at the mouth at some of these housing categories. There's a lot to be excited about. Of course, there's opportunity. When you're thinking condos, if you just look at the amount of inventory there is and the prices have come down, and you might be able to get one sub 500K, it's starting to seem fairly appealing. But if you are going to go ahead and make that call, make that decision to get into the housing market, you also need to know the ramifications with what that actually could be for you, whether it's lost equity if the market goes down, gained equity if the market goes up, and potentially the loss of money if you need to move faster than you might think. So getting into the market, the biggest thing you need to understand, at least from my point of view, is what's that 5 to 10 year window look like for you? Do you want to be getting into a condo today and moving in 2 or 3 years? If so, maybe it's not the right move for you. If you want to be getting into a townhouse and you can see a family growing there and you can be there in 5, 10 years, have no concerns at all, then that might be the perfect time for you to get into the market, because you're going to have up and down roller coaster ride for the next little while here. And I think the market's probably got a little bit more to come down before it goes up, but that's fine as long as you're building equity in your home. Now, on the selling side of things, is there concern? Potentially. What are you selling is the real question. Are you selling a detached home? Because you saw 40+% are selling over asking, and the strategy there works. Semi-detached home, same thing. But if you're selling a condo, strategy is the most important thing. You got to price it where everything's selling or better. It also has to look the best, have all the upgrades. You have to have the parking, you have to have the locker. It's got to be something that's super appealing. Best terms, best price, best package will get your condo sold. Houses are going to have a little bit of an easier time in today's market just due to the inventory being smaller than the amount that we have on the condo side of things. Understanding your market is extremely, extremely valuable. Is the real estate market crashing? It's adjusting. There's no question. It's come down from the peak as it should. Crash is going to be dependent on what your version of a crash is. Crash could mean to you 5%. It could mean 10%. It could just mean your home is worth less than what you paid for it when you bought it a few years ago. If that's the case, yes, the market's crashing. If to you a real estate market crash means prices are going to go from $1 million to 500,000, we are not there yet. So what does that real estate crash look like for you? Generally, as you can see in my other video right here, we talk about a typical real estate crash and how that adjustment looks like. Generally, it might be around 20%. It could be less, it could be more, depending on other economic factors. So we're not quite there just yet, which means we might have a little bit more to drop off, or things could change here in the GTA because it is more desirable real estate the closer you get to Toronto. So if you have any questions, you can always call me at the number here on screen. I'm happy to chat with you a little bit further, see if it makes sense to maybe sell your home now, hold out for a little bit, or maybe break down the numbers on the buying side and kind of get a game plan with you for when you're ready to pull the trigger.